Hi, this is the lesson number 8 in the series of literary criticism. So far we have discussed in previous 3 lessons about Aristotle and his major work Poetics and the key concepts given by him. In the last lesson, we discussed the main elements of tragedy and epic poetry. So we just finished there with the 3 unities, the unities of time, action, and place. So now, moving further about the plot, he says that it should have a determined structure. Structure has to be fully complete and determined. Determined in a one sense, we can say that everything, whatever is there in the plot, should be there because of some reasons. If we are removing any part of the plot, it would disturb the entire plot. So, removal of any part won't be possible in a good determined structure. This is he wanted to say, because in simple language we can say that in a plot one action leads to another, and the second action leads to another action. So one event happening as a result of the first event, second event happen, and as the result of that second event, third event happen. So there is a logical sequences, and when there is no subplot, as Aristotle said that there shouldn't be any subplot, then it can be possible. But when you introduce any subplot, then that logical sequence would not remain there, because something new would be introduced that has no reference to the main plot. So that is why he says that the structure has to be fully determined. Whatever is there has to be there for a reason, and if we remove any of the part, it should disturb the whole plot. So that is why he says that unnecessary things shouldn't be there. So then we come to the next point. By the plot, he says that plot has to be universal and applied everywhere. Like the concept of universality means that the action or the response should be general of any character, as it is expected by that it's the human behavior. How a character responds, it has to be general. It shouldn't be beyond this world. So the behavior of the character in the plot should be general. So there has to be universality, means it is possible everywhere, whether you are performing this in India or in Australia or anywhere. The action has to be universal. It's not something like, okay, something I can say, if a person in the plot we say that he is capable to lift up an elephant on his shoulder. It is not possible in cartoon movies or in superhero movies. It is possible, but as Aristotle says that the whatever is the behavior of the character, it has to be fully realistic, universal. Then we have 3 parts of the plot. Here are the 3 parts. The first one is the astonishment. The word astonish, have you heard this word? Astonish means to be surprised. To get suddenly means some feeling of a great surprise. So by this he says that there has to be astonishment. Action should inspire pity in the reader, pity and surprise in the mind of the reader. It should be related to the plot. So astonishment has to be there, that reader should get surprised, but it has to be related to the plot. And the next is anagnorisis. Aristotle says that anagnorisis is when the main character, recognize something. That is recognition or discovery moment. It is also said that the moment of discovery from ignorance to knowledge. Uh, we can take one example, that in Hamlet recognizes something. He comes to know that his father was killed by his uncle when he performed that play, the murder of Gonzago, or whatever name, I exactly don't remember. And at that time he got sure when he noticed reaction on the face of his uncle. That is the moment of discovery or recognition. This is termed as anagnorisis by Aristotle. Even in Macbeth, we can say when Macbeth killed the king Duncan, immediately after killing Duncan, he realized that he did something wrong. That was his the moment that he traveled from ignorance to knowledge. He came to know what is right. That is anagnorisis. And the third one is peripeteia. I do not know what is the exact pronunciation of this word. Peripeteia. What is this? This is the reversal of the fortunes. As earlier we discussed, fortune changes. The change in situation from good to bad or bad to good, according to the means with respect to the actions of the main character. The reversal of the fortunes, that is called the peripeteia. So these were the three main parts of the plot: astonishment, when the reader gets the feeling of pity and fear. It inspires, in fact astonishment inspires the feeling of pity and fear and surprise in the mind of the reader. Then we have anagnorisis, when the character recognize uh, something new, or what was his ignorance and what came to his knowledge. That is changes the position from ignorance to knowledge. And then peripeteia is about the reversal of the fortunes. Then there is another concept that is based on these three, that is the types of plot. According to Aristotle, there are two types of plot. The first is the simple, and then other is the complex one. So complex one should have all these three components. Which are these three components that we discussed earlier? Astonishment, anagnorisis, and peripeteia. And in simple, Aristotle says that in simple there is only astonishment, no anagnorisis, and no peripeteia. So only simple plot would inspire the reader for surprise and fear, pity, whatever. So this is about the plot, he said. Then one key concept comes before us, and that is catharsis. It is very debatable point, because even on your Google, if you search this, as I also searched, I found that this is still a debatable issue. What really Aristotle meant by catharsis? It is not properly explained. There are different views the people have by what Aristotle said. So we just try to make what is catharsis. First, catharsis is mentioned in chapter number 6, from where tragedy starts. You remember, from chapter 6 to 19, 14 chapters are fully devoted to tragedy. So in chapter number 6, catharsis is mentioned. So what is that? In any story or in any plot, when a reader or audience go by the action, there is a rise in the feelings, whether it is terror, fear, pity, whatever. Such feelings rise. So it is the purpose of the plot as well to rise terror and fear and pity in the minds of the reader. So catharsis means, first, the literal meaning is also taken as the purgation or purification. So when you are in the plot, you are watching something, there is such feelings are dominating your mind, and by the end of the plot, or by the end of the story, all such emotions and all such feelings are released. So releasing such emotions of uh, fear, terror, pity is all about catharsis. Catharsis means uh, releasing of emotions. As you go through any particular tragedy, play, movie, your emotions bound to get higher and higher by as the action develops. And as the action ends, the plot ends, everything gets revealed, the emotions gets released, because you are expecting something to happen. Because we as a reader or as audience, we also go by the main character, we live ourselves, and we expect that now it should happen with the main character, he should come to know about this is the final thing. We are just going by him, his feelings, his emotions are ours. If he is sad, we are also feeling sad, and by the end we see that every emotion is released, everything is revealed to the main character and the emotions are released. This is the catharsis, and it has to be there in every or in any good tragedy according to Aristotle. Catharsis is the releasing of emotions, fears, pity, whatever it was aroused in the plot. It is about releasing of all these emotions. So it is also compared to the purifications. When you were in the plot, you were thinking something, and by the end you just feel yourself purified, every emotion was released. This is catharsis. Then we have next thing is character. In character, Aristotle talks about the tragic hero, how the hero of a tragedy should be. So he should have certain qualities like high status, virtue, then goodness has to be there, and then hamartia. This is another key concept, hamartia. We shall discuss a bit later. And realistic, he should be near to the reality. Real existence means like a common man. He shouldn't be like a superhero. He should be realistic. We can imagine a hero that, yes, in real life as well, something like that. And consistent, his behavior, his approach should be consistent. We could expect it from the hero. We shouldn't expect something surprisingly that his behavior has changed, he's behaving like a villain. No, his behavior should be consistent, and even the reader could recognize that yes, it is his true behavior. So his status should be high, goodness has to be there, realistic he should be there, and consistent. And then what is hamartia? Hamartia stands for the tragic flaws or the imperfection. Hero shouldn't be perfect, because all human being we can't be perfect in life. So same is expected by Aristotle, that the whatever the tragic hero is there, he should be imperfect. There should be some flaws in it, because such flaws would lead to his downfall. And in tragedy we have already studied that there should be change in reversal, change in fortunes, reversal of fortunes, we can also say that from good to bad or bad to good, and such good to bad or bad to good is caused by his flaws, especially from good to bad, that is caused by his flaws. There should be some weakness or some we know the character of Hamlet, we know the character of Macbeth. There were some flaws in them. Even in Romeo and Juliet you find that there were some flaws in Romeo. So this is about hamartia, that there has to be some flaw in the character, some mistakes he commit. For reader or for audience may think that he shouldn't have done that, such things should be there, that there should be some flaws in the tragic hero. Then we come to the diction. The diction, as I have already told you, that is all about just writing style, the language is used, the phrases, the verbs, or whatever the grammatical aspect you may count, or the aspects of the language you count. Diction is all about the writing style. And then we have the structure of the tragedy. What is the structure of the tragedy? This is also a very important concept. First we have, that is, prologue. Prologue is just about introduction. You have heard this word prologue in any tragedy. The introduction that is in done with prologue, something the writer or any narrator comes on the stage and tells us something about that thing, that is prologue. And then the another next we have, that is chorus. Chorus, you can search this word on Google. Chorus, when the people sing a song in group. Chorus, this is the word written there. Chorus, I have found this word when in a song there are more than one singer, and in fact behind the singer there are so many people singing in a group. That is chorus. Or you may have find the same thing even on the TV, that earlier in the past there used to be some songs performed by number of people standing. They are in a queue, and not a queue but in a circle or in a line, and they are speaking this, and that is chorus. And where the group of people just comment and narrate something about that tragedy. They predict some actions as well. So they go with a song, they start, and there are three things to notice. The first is strophe, antistrophe, and epot. In strophe or strophe, however you may pronounce it, it is that when these people who is on the stage, maybe one or many, they are singing and moving from one corner to the another. They are singing and moving from one corner to the another while introduction. And this is the introduction mostly from left to right. Okay, can be of any, but it is said that mostly from left to right. That is called strophe. When the first stanza completes, they started from left and then to right as the first stanza completes. For the second stanza, they again starts from right and reach to the left, and that is called antistrophe, from right to left. And then is the epot. Epot, when they stand in the center and sing a song, like the last stanza. This is epot. So these are the three aspects when the chorus perform on the stage: strophe, antistrophe, and epot. And now, what is the episode? Episode comes after prologue. Prologue is performed by the chorus, and then in episode, that is all the acts and the scenes of interaction, whatever the play is or whatever the tragedy is that is performed, that is in the episode. And after episode, a choral song is performed, and after that whatever follows, that is called as exode. So there are three basic sections: prologue, then comes episode, and then comes exode. The last portion is, that is, exode. And after that Aristotle comes to epic. So epic is, as I earlier told you, that is quite similar to tragedy, but it is not confined to any stage. It is just narrated and in narrative form, a long epic poem, we can say. Several incidents takes place simultaneously, because when you are narrating, you can narrate whatever, maybe 4 or 5 incidents of different places, of different characters. It is possible. And for epic poetry, it is not possible to follow the unities of all these three unities, whatever we have in tragedy, 3 unities in fact. And story can be of a larger scale in comparison to tragedy. So it is written in heroic hexameter. So that's all we have about Aristotle's views in poetics. So, before ending up this lesson, we shall discuss some of the points based on the previous year questions asked in UGC net. So, I just repeat those points because what is the exact questions and what is the answer, it won't be easy to repeat here. It will take so much time. So I just repeat those points tragedy is superior to epic poetry. The first thing, according to Aristotle. All these views are according to Aristotle, as asked in the questions. Spectacle and music are the two things which are there in tragedy but not in epic poetry. Spectacle and music, music or song, you can take them for one another. And tragedy is shorter in length. Epic can be of any length. And then what is the soul of the tragedy? That is plot. And what is anagnorisis? Anagnorisis is the moment of discovery, recognition. And what is catharsis? Catharsis, as I have already told you, that it is about the releasing of the emotions, purifications of the emotions and pity, fear, whatever aroused through the tragedy. And it is expressed or it is mentioned in chapter number 6, catharsis. And Shakespeare followed which unity of these three? He followed unity of action. According to this is according to Dr. Samuel Johnson. And then tragedy is imitation of action which have a proper beginning, middle and end. And the last one is, okay, it is quite a new statement, that poetry is a safe outlet for releasing emotions. Poetry is a safe outlet for releasing emotions. So I hope that I have justified as I could with Aristotle and his views and whatever I had in the forms of notes and whatever I could manage from the sources like Wikipedia. So I have tried my best to explain whatever available was to me. So thanks, and in the next lesson we shall continue our literary criticism with the another writer, that is Horace. So for the moment, thanks.